Alright guys, I hope everyone's doing okay. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the observation paper. So let's first off start off on how to access it. So this is due at the end of the semester, so it's going to be in the last module. Observation final. You could also access it through assignments. Click on assignments by yourself right here. You don't have to go down from the modules or the home page, but you can just click on assignments. It's going to be at the end right here under individual assignments. So click on observation paper. So you're going to have to do a log sheet, so that is required, and then obviously write an observation paper, which is about 6 to 10 pages, double spaced. It's really not that long, guys. I know some of you may find it a little daunting, a little scary, but if you think about it, if you do 3 pages single space, that's 6 pages. So that's really all what it is. It's not that much. And believe me, when you're writing it, you'll see it becomes very easy. You can fit this into 6 to 10 pages very quickly. So you're going to observe a child from the 4 to 5 year mark, and you're going to look at them from what we've been discussing in class. So from their physical capabilities, development, you're going to look at the cognitive issues or cognitive development, and also the psychosocial development. Okay. You will have to go to a child development center or maybe an after-school program to observe a child. So I recommend you make an appointment with whatever center you feel most comfortable with. I know the Riverside Community College Child Development Center is pretty flexible, but I would call ahead and make an appointment just to make sure you can do it. The observation should be about 90 minutes long when you're doing it, observing the child. And what you can do is, it just depends on your comfort level. If when you're observing the child, you will have to take notes, which is your running record, and you're going to put that in your paper as well. So it depends on your comfort level. You can bring a laptop and type. It could be a little distracting for the children to see someone on a laptop, but it's really just up to you. I'm sure they may be used to it. What you could also do is just handwrite your notes and then type them out later. So it's really up to you on preference on how you want to do it. So your observation should be about 90 minutes long. It can be an hour if you want it to be, but just make sure your running record is detailed. So your running record has to be at least 2 to 3 pages max. Okay? So just make sure your running record is sufficient, it's detailed, and I'm able to see what you're seeing and those different types of things as well. Okay? So let's first off look at the log sheet. So how do you access your log sheet? So you go ahead and click on this. I'm going to open it up. Alright, so let's make it smaller really quick. Whoops. There we go. You guys can see it now better, I hope. Okay. Oh, there we go. Alright, so this is the log sheet that you're going to attach within your paper. So just put the location of where you did your observation. So if it's the Child Development Center in Riverside, or if it's the Boys and Girls Club after school program, just put that right there, where it's located, the date you did it, and the time, and also the gender of the child. And this is just extra notes for you right here. So you know, you can kind of make note of this really quickly and put that in your running record later. So these are just some things that you may see. So you can put a check mark next to things that maybe you did see. Okay. And you could also use this and print it out and then put your running record here too. Depends on how you want to do it. Like I said, you could do it handwritten and then type it out, or you can straight away type it out during the observation. It's just really up to you on your comfort level. Okay. Also, like I said, when you put the location, I will be able to Google it, so I will ask if people have went there. So you can't make this up. I want to make sure people are actually observing a child. It's actually quite interesting. Some people find it very fun. Okay, so that's the log sheet that's going to be attached to your paper. So let's do that. So then we'll go back over here. All right. So I do recommend that when you're observing your child, it should be at least in class time and also maybe outside as well, because you get more detailed information that way. So you can choose either adult-led play or just outside play, but in order for your just own personal development, I think it's good to see both. Just make sure your running record's 90 minutes long or an hour and just has 2 to 3 pages of what the child's doing, things you observe. Okay. You could also submit your notes handwritten, but just make sure I could read them. I always say just type them out because some people think I can read their handwriting, and it turns out that I can't. So just to be safe, type them out could be easier unless you know I'm able to read your handwriting. Okay. And if you would like, you could also just send me your handwritten notes and say, hey, can you read this? And I could just A-OK it, and then you could attach it to your paper as well that way. Okay, so let's see. So we talked about it's 6 to 10 pages, right? Yeah, we did that already. So this is just the outline of what it's going to look like, your paper right here. And that is the same thing in this little link right there too. It's the same exact thing. It's just in a Word document. So your first page is going to be obviously your title and your introduction. So just a little introduction of what you're doing. It could be like just a paragraph, a very small paragraph for your introduction. And then you're going to talk about typical for development. So you're going to talk about what is typical for the 4 to 5 year range that we're looking at. So typically, how should they appear physically? What are their physical skills? Fine motor skills, gross motor skills. What are their cognitive skills? Their attention, memory, processing information. What's the psychosocial skills? Their ability to make friends, their self-esteem, their emotional awareness, all these different types of things. Talk about that typical development. And for this, I recommend just using your book. So you can just cite your book like you kind of cited for your disability research paper, and that will be sufficient enough to cite. Your next section will be description of the child and location. So description of child is very simple. You don't really have to put too much, description in there, but just basically what are they wearing, what's their race, are they a boy or a girl, what's their hair type, are they wearing glasses, are they in a wheelchair, whoever it is that you're observing. And also for the child observation, you don't have to, I would like for you not to put their real name, just make up a name and just say Sarah was running or Jim was jumping up and down. You could just make up a name so it's easier for you to write the paper that way. Okay. And then you're also going to describe the location. So are you an outside play area? Are you at circle time? Are they engaging in group play? Whatever it may be. And just describe how the room looks like. Okay. Then the next thing is your running record. So this is actually your observation of what the child is doing. Like I said, limit it to 2 to 3 pages. Just don't say things that are very simple, like, oh, he was just playing. You can capture things with actual quotation marks if you would like, which is recommended. And then also you can describe emotional level. Oh, well, Jimmy at first appeared very excited when the teacher said they were going to do circle time. And when lunchtime came around, he got very tired, or whatever it may be. Okay. Also, you're going to have a section on part tense type of play. So Mildred Parton is a researcher, and she viewed different observational playing styles in children. So these are just the examples of them: onlooker, parallel, solitary, etc. This is all in your book. Okay, all these different types of play, and you're going to describe these plays that you observed in your observation. Next is you're going to look at now the child. So you have your running record, right? All the things that happened, and now you kind of have to analyze it basically. So those developmental skills, was it typical for that child? Remember, you talked about this already. Are they behind? Are they ahead? Are they within the range? You can talk about physical development. So John demonstrated specific gross motor skills such as jumping up and down, riding a bicycle, doing karate kicks and make-believe play, pretending to be a ninja. That would be also gross motor skills. Or fine motor skills. Maybe John or Juan was drawing. Maybe he was drawing a picture and they were doing art play. So whatever it may be. So you're going to describe those developmental specific skills learned for physical, cognitive, and psychosocial. So cognitive could be attention, it could be memory. You could even talk about Piaget if you want to, and his stages of cognitive development and how you saw that in the child you observed. And psychosocial, how are they engaging socially? Are they introverted, extroverted? Are they maybe sad? Or maybe they're happy? Or are they engaging more with students versus the teacher? Are they engaging too much with the teacher versus the student? So this is all part of psychosocial development. You can talk about that. So self-awareness, emotional awareness, communication, vocabulary, language can also be part of that. Okay. So overall, I want you to try to have at least 3 to 5 examples for each of the domain to get the maximum points. So 3 to 5 examples from physical, 3 to 5 examples from cognitive, and 3 to 5 examples for psychosocial. Okay. You can, if they were engaging positively with their peers, you can say pro-social behavior. Especially if maybe they were helpful. Maybe someone dropped their toys and your child that you're observing helped that person. Or maybe they said thank you a lot. Those are all pro-social behaviors. Let's say you see a child that is just not able to pay attention. You could say that they're inattentive, or let's say they can't stay in their seat, or they're restless. You could say hyperactive. I mean, I doubt you will see this, but usually you don't get too many of these, but maybe there's a child that's aggressive. You can say that the child was aggressive. They had behavioral issues such as throwing things, screaming, yelling, whatever it may be. Okay? So that's the last section, and then finally your conclusion. So just, have a little small paragraph of what you saw, what you thought. Do you think that child's typically developing for their age, etc. So same with the disability research paper, you're going to want to do APA formatting as well. So you're going to have page numbers, title, you're going to have your header as well, the reference list, and in-text citations of the class textbook. As I said, when you're talking about the typical skills for development for that age, you're going to use your textbook. And that's all you really need. You don't need anything else unless you want to add more things. That's fine. There is no need for cover page or an abstract. And there's no need for more than one reference. So like I said, the book is perfectly fine. Okay. And this is just the rubric right here. Okay. And you can go ahead and take a look at that in your own time. So I think that's it for this video. So this is just like the general overview of your assignment. I could also show you the APA sample paper of your observation if you want as well. So actually I'll just go ahead and do it in the same video. I was going to separate it, but let's do it on the same video. So let me go ahead and get that started right there. Okay. So this person's a student paper, and they did a title page, or cover page, but you don't have to do that. Oops, it's kind of messed up right here. There we go. Alright, so you can put your title here. So it says child observation paper or observation paper, however you want to title it. And then you have your introduction, like it's outlined in that rubric, so just a little description of what you're going to be doing. And then talk about from your book what's typical for development for the 4 to 5 year range, what's typical for physical, so you can have your own subheading there. Definitely recommend that so I'm able to grade that and to understand that you're discussing physical development. And we have another section typical for cognitive development, another section for social emotional development, And then the next section is description of child and location. So they made up a name for the child, so it's just easier to do it that way if you want to do it that way. So, how they were looking, as far as what type of hair did they have, their color of skin, were they African American, were they Mexican, were they white, whatever it may be. What they were wearing, if they're wearing if they're wearing eyeglasses, or if they have some type of disability, maybe they have a walker or a wheelchair. And then obviously description of location. So the Riverside Community College Child Development Center. So you can discuss what you see there. For example, this student talked about how the environment was decorated with Halloween decorations. There was calendar. There was different types of activities such as building blocks and colored pumpkins, etc. Okay. Then here's her running record. I really like how she did hers. She kind of separated it by time. So she started at 10:30 and talked about what she was seeing. So these were self-directed activities where child were just exploring their environment, doing their own thing independently. So she was viewing her child that she was observing, talked about what she did during that time. And then at 10:45 it was clean up, washing hands. So she put that right there. And then at 11 o'clock there was outdoor play, gross motor play. Let's see, keep going. At 11:25 to 11:45, there's a large group activity. So you talk about what you saw Sarah do or Juan do during that time. All right, and then 11:45 to 12:25, wash hands, lunchtime. And then 12:25 to 12:30, brushing teeth. What she saw Sarah do, or whoever the child that you're going to be observing is doing during those times. Okay. So that's the running record. So you guys can see it's about 1, 2, 3, 4 pages long. Okay, so it's a little bit too long, but I also think it's because how she spaced it out. So like I said, 2 to 3 pages is fine. She just kind of went above and beyond, and that's fine. It's just as long as I'm able to see what the child is doing. So this is Parton's types of play, like we talked about already. So she talked about, the researcher, the different types of play that researcher talked about. Then also if she had seen Sarah do any of those play styles. Okay. And then we have developmental skills observed. So according to what she learned from typical development on 4 to 5 years of age, how did Sarah measure up? What are some things that she saw Sarah do physically? Was she engaging in gross motor skills typical for her age? Was she engaging in fine motor skills? Same thing with cognitive as well, and the psychosocial aspect. So as I say, you're going to want to have, 3 to 5 examples for that, and then obviously your conclusion. Okay, and then here you can have your reference list on its own separate page. Here we go. You have a little small conclusion sentence or paragraph, and then your references. So that's about it. Hopefully that is helpful for you guys to kind of see it visually. And one last thing, as I said, you're going to have your log sheet attached. See, so you can see where she did her observation, different skills that she wanted to assess on, and then the time of location as well. Okay. Well, I wish you luck on your paper. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the classroom.